Welcome to the Bonfire 200 training series. This is Bonfire 201, and in this video, I will run you through a set of examples that demonstrate behaviors and cause and effect logic, which will be essential once you begin working on your own project. We will show examples of using base entity sparks and its capabilities, config sparks, base symbol sparks, and modifier nodes. By the end of this video, you will have a solid understanding of the potential and capabilities you can easily create with Bonfire to build dynamic experiences. Let us start with base entity sparks. Entity sparks in Bonfire are interactive 3D objects with modifiable traits such as position, scale, and collision. These combine assets and behaviors into standalone units for building immersive experiences. For example, in a manufacturing simulation, we might have a conveyor belt spark that moves materials from one station to another. To do that, we simply apply a move effect to the item placed on the conveyor belt. In my setup, I have a move node on my box spark that shifts it 4 points in the Y position. I can also change the speed of its movement by setting the time to move value, which specifies how long it takes to complete the entire movement. In the next setup, I triggered a highlight effect on the box spark once the spark on the conveyor finished its movement. Highlights can be used to guide your users to the next step. I have also added an interact cause in the box spark and connected it to a modify effect that changes the box visibility state to false. This means that when I interact with the box disappears. Next, I have a behavior tree that transfers the box into the storage bin when the box I am grabbing touches the storage bin. You will see I used a trigger spark, which is an environment entity spark that has a collided cause, triggering only when it detects the box spark. When this occurs, the box spark from my player's hand vanishes because its visible trait is set to false, and then a new box appears inside the storage bin. These are just a few examples of what you can achieve with entity sparks in Bonfire. Config sparks in Bonfire are invisible sparks that make changes to your experience without taking up any 2D or 3D space. They are often used for systems like countdown timers, inventory counters, and data storage. For instance, if I want to display a countdown timer on the player's screen, I would connect a countdown config spark and attach a countdown viewer symbol spark in the player's UI. A state machine config is one of the most important config sparks in Bonfire, mostly used for story progression. In my next example, I require the user to press the machine twice before it will operate and move the box on the conveyor. The chapter begins with the default state value of 0. Notice that the box movement will only continue once we reach state 1. Since we begin at state 0, interacting with the machine shifts the state to 1. When I interact with the machine again, the box moves. A random config spark triggers random output sockets within a node when called. A datum spark in Bonfire acts as a variable container for storing values, such as score points or any number-based data, and it includes options to modify, save, and display these values during gameplay. In this case, I am showing how many pallets the user has stepped on. You can see that the collection count increases whenever I collide with a pallet. An audio spark, by its name, plays audio when activated. To activate it, I simply trigger the audio with the state set to play. Base symbol sparks in Bonfire are graphical components like buttons, text, and images used for creating menus and user interfaces. In this example, I have a billboard spark with a button that changes a chapter when pressed. Now, when we click that button, the chapter changes. I can also set up a toggle UI that, when checked, places a box in my user's hand. This also works in VR. Finally, modifier nodes are behavior nodes that modify specific traits, trigger delays, toggle states, and more. We have already used one to change chapters. Modifier nodes only exist in the behavior panel and do not have an entity or symbol counterpart. One of the most useful modifiers is the Debug modifier, which allows you to force execution of the connected node. For example, if I am testing the rotate effect on a drawer, pressing the trigger button in the Debug modifier will fire off the effect I want to apply to the drawer spark. The Blackout modifier fades the screen in or out. The Delay modifier in Bonfire pauses the execution of the next connected node for a set number of seconds. Here you will see that it waits 5 seconds after I interact with the machine before showing a dialog that says it is ready. That is all for now. We have covered several examples of entity sparks, config sparks, symbol sparks, and modifier nodes. Whether you are designing a training simulation or an automated workflow, these tools will help you build engaging and realistic experiences in Bonfire. See you in the next video.